The headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi calls upon countrymen to make a sacred Amrit resolve on Amrit Mahotsav and move forward with the mantra, Nation First, Always First. In Mann Ki Baat program on All India Radio, Prime Minister says, it is our duty to ensure that our work helps to closely knit and bind India. Mr. Modi asked countrymen to lead a Bharat Jodo Andolan on the lines of Bharat Chodo Andolan steered under Bapu's leadership. President Ramnath Kovind arrives in Srinagar on a 4-day visit to Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh today to pay homage at Kargil War Memorial at Dras on 22nd Kargil Vijay Divas tomorrow. Home Minister Amit Shah plants trees at Vashari in Meghalaya as part of the Sora afforestation project to inaugurate various schemes in Guwahati this evening. Nationwide COVID-19 vaccination crosses 43 crore 31 lakh doses mark. Recovery rate stands at 97.36%. Army, Navy and Air Force working round the clock in rescue and relief work in flood-affected Maharashtra, Karnataka and Goa. In Olympics, boxer MC Mary Kom wins in opening round of women's flyweight category. Shuttler PV Sindhu sails to second round in women's singles. Manika Batra enters third round of women's table tennis singles. Indian rowing team enter semi-finals of lightweight men's double sculls. And in cricket, first T20 international between India and Sri Lanka to be played in Colombo at 8 p.m. this evening. As the nationwide free COVID-19 vaccination campaign at government facilities for those above 18 years is going on, we advise our young listeners to get vaccinated and also to help others to get vaccinated. We also advise our listeners not to lower their guard as COVID-19 remains a threat to our health. Please stay at home unless it is essential to go out and continue to follow these 3 simple steps. Wear a face mask, maintain 2 gaz ki duri for social distancing, and focus on hand and face hygiene. For any COVID-related information and guidance, contact national helpline numbers 011 2397 8046 and 1075. And now the news in detail. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has called upon the countrymen to make a sacred Amrit resolve on Amrit Mahotsav that the country remains to be our highest faith and topmost priority. He said we have to move forward with the mantra, Nation First, Always First. Sharing his thoughts in his monthly Mann Ki Baat program on All India Radio today, the Prime Minister said that just the way the Quit India movement, Bharat Chodo Andolan, steered under Bapu's leadership, every countryman today has to lead a Bharat Jodo Andolan. He said it is our duty to ensure that our work helps to closely knit and bind our India, which is filled with diversity.
बात जब आजादी के आंदोलन और खादी की हो तो पूज्य बापू का स्मरण होना स्वाभाविक है। जैसे बापू के नेतृत्व में भारत छोड़ो आंदोलन चला था, वैसे ही आज हर देशवासी को भारत जोड़ो आंदोलन का नेतृत्व करना है। ये हमारा कर्तव्य है कि हम अपना काम ऐसे करें जो विविधताओं से हमारे भारत को जोड़ने में मददगार हो। तो आइए हम अमृत महोत्सव को ये अमृत संकल्प लें कि देश ही हमारी सबसे बड़ी आस्था, सबसे बड़ी प्राथमिकता बना रहेगा। नेशन फर्स्ट, ऑलवेज फर्स्ट के मंत्र के साथ ही हमें आगे बढ़ना है।
Sharing his thoughts about the upcoming Independence Day on the 15th of August, the Prime Minister said that this time, on this day, the country is entering a 75th year of independence. He added that we are indeed very fortunate. They are witnessing 75 years of freedom, a freedom that the country waited for centuries. Mr. Narendra Modi recalled that to commemorate 75 years of freedom, Amrit Mahotsav commenced on the 12th of March from Bapu's Sabarmati Ashram.
अमृत महोत्सव किसी सरकार का कार्यक्रम नहीं, किसी राजनीतिक दल का कार्यक्रम नहीं, यह कोटि कोटि भारतवासियों का कार्यक्रम है। हर स्वतंत्र और कृतज्ञ भारतीय का अपने स्वतंत्रता सेनानियों को नमन है और इस महोत्सव की मूल भावना का विस्तार तो बहुत विशाल है। ये भावना है अपने स्वाधीनता सेनानियों के मार्ग पर चलना, उनके सपनों का देश बनाना। जैसे देश की आजादी के मतवाले स्वतंत्रता के लिए एकजुट हो गए थे, वैसे ही हमें देश के विकास के लिए एकजुट होना है।
Prime Minister Modi said that this time an event is about to take place on the 15th of August connected with the national anthem. He said under this program, the Ministry of Culture strives to have the maximum number of Indians sing the national anthem together.
ऐसा ही एक आयोजन इस बार 15 अगस्त को होने जा रहा है। ये एक प्रयास है राष्ट्रगान से जुड़ा हुआ। सांस्कृतिक मंत्रालय की कोशिश है कि इस दिन ज्यादा से ज्यादा भारतवासी मिलकर राष्ट्रगान गाएं। इसके लिए एक वेबसाइट भी बनाई गई है, राष्ट्रगान.in। इस वेबसाइट की मदद से आप राष्ट्रगान गाकर उसे रिकॉर्ड कर पाएंगे, इस अभियान से जुड़ पाएंगे। मुझे उम्मीद है आप इस अनोखी पहल से जरूर जुड़ेंगे। इसी तरह के बहुत सारे अभियान, बहुत सारे प्रयास आपको आने वाले दिनों में देखने को मिलेंगे। अमृत महोत्सव किसी सरकार का कार्यक्रम नहीं, किसी राजनीतिक दल का कार्यक्रम नहीं, यह कोटि-कोटि भारतवासियों का कार्यक्रम है।
Mr. Modi stressed that we have to live for the country, work for the country, and in that even the smallest of efforts do produce big results. He emphasized that we can contribute to nation building even while performing our routine chores such as vocal for local. The Prime Minister urged the people to buy handloom products being made in rural areas and share it using hashtag #MyHandloomMyPride. Recalling his thoughts shared in his Mann Ki Baat program in 2014 on Khadi, Mr. Narendra Modi said that it is only on account of the efforts of people that today the sale of Khadi has risen manifold.
देश में खादी की बिक्री कई गुना बढ़ गई है। क्या कोई सोच सकता था कि खादी के किसी स्टोर से एक दिन में 1 करोड़ रुपए से अधिक की बिक्री हो सकती है? लेकिन आपने ये भी कर दिखाया। आप जब भी कहीं पर खादी का कुछ खरीदते हैं तो इसका लाभ हमारे गरीब बुनकर भाइयों बहनों को ही होता है। इसलिए खादी खरीदना एक तरह से जन सेवा भी है, देश सेवा भी है। मेरा आपसे आग्रह है कि आप सभी मेरे प्यारे भाइयों बहनों ग्रामीण इलाकों में बन रहे हैंडलूम प्रोडक्ट्स जरूर खरीदें और उसे हैशटैग #MyHandloomMyPride के साथ शेयर करें।
Sharing his thoughts about Tokyo Olympics, the Prime Minister exhorted the countrymen to extend their best wishes and encourage the Indian contingent. He said on social media, a Victory Punch campaign in support of Olympic sportsperson has begun and people should share Victory Punch with their teams. The Prime Minister said that at the Tokyo Olympics, watching Indian sportspersons march carrying the tricolour exhilarated not just him, but the entire country.
टोक्यो ओलंपिक्स में भारतीय खिलाड़ियों को तिरंगा लेकर चलते देखकर मैं ही नहीं पूरा देश रोमांचित हो उठा। पूरे देश ने जैसे एक होकर अपने इन योद्धाओं से कहा, विजयी भव, विजयी भव। जब ये खिलाड़ी भारत से गए थे तो मुझे इनसे गपशप करने का, उनके बारे में जानने और देश को बताने का अवसर मिला था। ये खिलाड़ी जीवन की अनेक चुनौतियों को पार करते हुए यहाँ पहुंचे हैं। आज उनके पास आपके प्यार और सपोर्ट की ताकत है। इसलिए आइए मिलकर अपने सभी खिलाड़ियों को अपनी शुभकामनाएं, उनका हौसला बढ़ाएं।
The Prime Minister said 26th of July is the Kargil Vijay Divas, as the Kargil war is one symbol of the bravery and patience on part of India's armed forces. He added that this time the pride-filled day will be celebrated amid Amrit Mahotsav, and that is why this day becomes all the more special. Mr. Modi urged the people to read the enthralling saga of Kargil and bow to the brave hearts of Kargil.
जो देश के लिए तिरंगा उठाता है, उसके सम्मान में भावनाओं से भर जाना स्वाभाविक ही है। देशभक्ति की ये भावना हम सबको जोड़ती है। कल यानी 26 जुलाई को करगिल विजय दिवस भी है। करगिल का युद्ध भारत की सेनाओं के शौर्य और संयम का ऐसा प्रतीक है जिसे पूरी दुनिया ने देखा है। इस बार ये गौरवशाली दिवस भी अमृत महोत्सव के बीच में मनाया जाएगा, इसलिए ये और भी खास हो जाता है। मैं चाहूंगा कि आप करगिल की रोमांचित कर देने वाली गाथा जरूर पढ़ें। करगिल के वीरों को हम सब नमन करें।
Mr. Modi also extended his special thanks to the people tuned into the Mann Ki Baat. He mentioned that as per a study of MyGov regarding the listeners of Mann Ki Baat, it was revealed that out of those sending messages and suggestions, close to 75% are below the age of 35.
साथियों, आप लोगों से मिले सुझाव ही मन की बात की असली ताकत है। आपके सुझाव ही मन की बात के माध्यम से भारत की विविधता को प्रकट करते हैं, भारतवासियों के सेवा और त्याग की खुशबू को चारों दिशाओं में फैलाते हैं। हमारे मेहनतकश युवाओं के इनोवेशन से सबको प्रेरित करते हैं। मन की बात में आप कई तरह के आइडियाज भेजते हैं। हम सभी पर तो चर्चा नहीं कर पाते, लेकिन उनमें से बहुत से आइडियाज को मैं संबंधित विभागों को जरूर भेजता हूं ताकि उन पर आगे काम किया जा सके।
The Prime Minister also mentioned about the efforts of Sai Praneeth, a software engineer hailing from Andhra Pradesh who decided to use his interest and talent for the welfare of farmers. Sharing his thoughts on use of technology, Mr. Modi said that there was a time when it would take years to complete even a minor construction, and today, due to technology, the situation is changing in India. He added, some time ago, the government had launched a global housing technology challenge to invite such innovative companies from all over the world. He said this is a unique attempt of its kind in the country, and hence we gave it to the name Lighthouse Projects. Mr. Modi said now work on lighthouse projects is won at a fast pace of 6 different locations in the country in which modern technology and innovative methods are used. The Prime Minister also talked about apple farming in Ukhrul, district of Manipur, which is picking up fast. He said farmers are growing apples in their orchards, and to learn apple farming, these people have taken formal training by going to Himachal. In addition to, the Prime Minister also mentioned that the cultivation of ber is increasing, especially about and after the COVID-19 pandemic.
The Prime Minister talked about a unique initiative in Lakhimpur Kheri of Uttar Pradesh about training women to manufacture fibre from the waste banana stems. A woman from the area earns 400 to 600 rupees per day. He said, on the other hand, products are being manufactured from banana fibre, and on the other, delicious dishes like dosai and gulab jamun are being made from banana flour. The Prime Minister said such examples become the inspiration to do something new in life, and urged the people to share all this with him on Namo app or MyGov site. The Prime Minister talked about Sanjay Rana, who runs a food stall and sells chole bhature on his cycle in Sector 29 of Chandigarh.
चंडीगढ़ के सेक्टर 29 में संजय राणा जी फूड स्टॉल चलाते हैं और साइकिल पर छोले भटूरे बेचते हैं। एक दिन उनकी बेटी रिद्धिमा और भतीजी रिया एक आइडिया के साथ उनके पास आई। दोनों ने उनसे कोविड वैक्सीन लगवाने वालों को फ्री में छोले भटूरे खिलाने को कहा। वे इसके लिए खुशी खुशी तैयार हो गए। उन्होंने तुरंत ये अच्छा और नेक प्रयास शुरू भी कर दिया। संजय राणा जी के छोले भटूरे मुफ्त में खाने के लिए आपको दिखाने पड़ेगा कि आपने उसी दिन वैक्सीन लगवाई है। वैक्सीन का मैसेज दिखाते ही वे आपको स्वादिष्ट छोले भटूरे दे देंगे। कहते हैं समाज की भलाई के काम के लिए पैसे से ज्यादा सेवा भाव, कर्तव्य भाव की ज्यादा आवश्यकता।
Mentioning about the India-Georgia relationship, the Prime Minister said that a very few days back, a very interesting and emotional event occurred which imparted new strength to the India-Georgia friendship. He said in this ceremony, India handed over the holy relic of the icon of Saint Queen Ketevan to the government of Georgia and the people there. Mr. Modi said this single ceremony has not only strengthened the relationships between the two nations, but as well as between Goa and Georgia. He said this is because these holy relics of Saint Queen Ketevan were found in 2005 from St. Augustine Church in Goa. Mr. Modi also talked about Singapore, where the Prime Minister Lee Hsien Loong inaugurated the recently renovated Silat Road Gurudwara. Mr. Modi recalled that this Gurudwara was built about 100 years ago, and there is also a memorial dedicated to Bhai Maharaj Singh, who fought for the independence of India.
उन्होंने पारंपरिक सिख पगड़ी भी पहनी थी। यह गुरुद्वारा लगभग 100 साल पहले बना था और यहाँ भाई महाराज सिंह को समर्पित एक स्मारक भी है। भाई महाराज सिंह जी ने भारत की स्वतंत्रता के लिए लड़ाई लड़ी थी और ये पल आजादी के 75 साल मना रहे हैं तब और अधिक प्रेरक बन जाता है। दो देशों के बीच पीपल टू पीपल कनेक्ट, उसे मजबूती ऐसी ही बातों, ऐसे ही प्रयासों से मिलती है। इनसे यह भी पता चलता है कि सौहार्दपूर्ण माहौल में रहने और एक दूसरे की संस्कृति को समझने का कितना महत्व है।
Mr. Modi also stressed on the need of water conservation, saying, saving every drop of water prevents any kind of wastage of water.
अब मानसून के मौसम में सूर्य इस संचित संपदा को पृथ्वी को वापस लौटा रहा है। वाकई मानसून और बारिश का मौसम सिर्फ खूबसूरत और सुहाना ही नहीं होता, बल्कि यह पोषण देने वाला, जीवन देने वाला भी होता है। वर्षा का पानी जो हमें मिल रहा है वो हमारी भावी पीढ़ियों के लिए है। ये हमें कभी भूलना नहीं चाहिए। आज मेरे मन में ये विचार आया कि क्यों न इन रोचक संदर्भों के साथ ही मैं अपनी बात समाप्त करूं। आप सभी को आने वाले पर्वों की बहुत बहुत शुभकामनाएं। पर्व और उत्सवों के समय ये जरूर याद रखिएगा कि कोरोना अभी हमारे बीच से गया नहीं है। कोरोना से जुड़े प्रोटोकॉल आपको भूलने नहीं है। आप स्वस्थ और प्रसन्न रहें।
In Tamil Nadu's Nilgiri district, social media-based entrepreneur Radhika Shastri has sponsored 6 ambulances with the support of philanthropists. Seeing the plight of tea estate workers at Kotagiri Taluk during the COVID-19 pandemic, she wanted to contribute something towards the society. Taking inspiration from Jaipur-based Vivek Tankhal's AmbuRx ambulance service, Radhika fabricated autos fitted with 470cc diesel engines. Each vehicle was designated with a stretcher, drip hooks, first aid box, fan and attendant seating. The vehicles were able to transport patients from remote villages and narrow roads in the hilly district as quickly as possible.
My name is Radhika Shastri. I live in the hill town of Kunur in the Nilgiris. I was born and brought up in Dehradun, so I'm very familiar living in the hills and I love it. My corporate career was in Bangalore and subsequently I've now moved to Kunur and settled down and I have a small cafe here. During the second wave of the corona, when we were in lockdown, I found that a lot of people were finding it extremely difficult to reach hospitals.
You are listening to the Midday News on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Prime Minister Narendra Modi calls upon countrymen to make a sacred Amrit resolve on Amrit Mahotsav and move forward with the mantra Nation First, Always First. In Mann Ki Baat program on All India Radio, Prime Minister says it is our duty to ensure that our work helps to closely knit and bind India. Mr. Modi asked countrymen to lead a Bharat Jodo Andolan on the lines of Bharat Chodo Andolan steered under Bapu's leadership. President Ramnath Kovind arrives in Srinagar on a 4-day visit to Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh today to pay homage at Kargil War Memorial at Dras on 22nd Kargil Vijay Divas tomorrow. Home Minister Amit Shah plants tree at Wahashari in Meghalaya as part of the Shohra afforestation project to inaugurate various schemes in Guwahati this evening. Nationwide COVID-19 vaccination crosses 43 crore 31 lakh doses mark. Recovery rate stands at 97.36%. Army, Navy and Air Force working round the clock in rescue and relief work in flood-affected Maharashtra, Karnataka and Goa. In Olympics, boxer MC Mary Kom wins in opening round of women's flyweight category. Shuttler PV Sindhu sails to second round in women's singles. Manika Batra enters third round of women's table tennis singles. Indian rowing team enters semi-finals of lightweight men's double sculls. And in cricket, first T20 international between India and Sri Lanka to be played in Colombo at 8 p.m. this evening. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on Twitter handle AIR News Alerts.
चलो मिलकर एक शुरुआत करें, चलो एक फैसला आज करें, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे, चलो एक इरादा करते हैं, चलो कुछ वादा करते हैं, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे.
Welcome back to the Midday News. President Ramnath Kovind, who is on a 4-day visit to Union territories of Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh from today, has arrived in Srinagar. Lieutenant Governor of Jammu and Kashmir, Manoj Sinha, received Mr. Kovind on his arrival at Srinagar. The President was also accorded a Guard of Honour. Tomorrow, the President will visit Kargil War Memorial Dras in Ladakh and pay homage on the 22nd anniversary of Kargil Vijay Divas to the indomitable courage and sacrifice of the Indian Armed Forces during the Kargil conflict in 1999. The President will also grace and address the 19th annual convocation of the University of Kashmir in Srinagar on Tuesday. The celebrations of Kargil Vijay Divas began today with a visit to places of action 22 years ago. Continuing its rich traditions, the senior army officers met war veterans and Veer Naris at Lamochan Viewpoint. Here is a report.
It is always fascinating and motivating to hear the heroic deeds of Indian Army during Operation Vijay in high-altitude cold region Kargil, Ladakh. 22nd anniversary celebrations of Kargil Vijay Divas began with army traditions of remembering martyrs who laid their lives in the fierce battle India fought. From Lamochan Viewpoint at Manman Top, one can view all peaks India fought heroically and captured like Tiger Hill, Tololing Top, Three Pimples, Trishul HT and other targets of enemy including Dras Town and National Highway 1D during the Kargil War. These peaks and places stand tall, ever remaining Indian Army's valor, courage and commitment. GOC 16 Corps Lieutenant General M.V. Suchindra Kumar participated in the interaction with retired Army personnel, war veterans and Veer Naris. Evening at the dusk, Kargil War Memorial in Dras will be lit with candles in remembrance of martyrs by their loved ones and Army personnel and officers. With Anayat Ali in Dras, Ramesh Chandra for All India Radio News from Lake Ladakh.
On the second day of his visit to Meghalaya, Home Minister Amit Shah today planted trees at Vashari Sohra as part of the Sohra afforestation project for ecological restoration. Speaking at the event, Mr. Shah said that different paramilitary forces of the country will plant over 1 crore trees in the coming days and urged the people of the nation to assist the forces in the effort. He further said that Meghalaya government along with the donor ministry in association with the North Eastern Council will transform 100 hectares of barren land in Sohra into a forest with an estimated cost of 50 crore rupees. Later, the Union Home Ministry inaugurated the Greater Sohra Water Supply Scheme constructed under the donor ministry at an estimated cost of about 25 crore rupees. He also visited Ramakrishna Mission Sohra. Home Minister Amit Shah will also inaugurate various schemes in Guwahati today. He will inaugurate radiotherapy block and new Lanak machine at State Cancer Institute at Guwahati Medical College and Hospital. He will also lay the foundation stone of Tumulpur Medical College and also hand over checks to the family members of COVID-19 victims in Guwahati. More than 43 crore 31 lakh COVID vaccine doses have been administered in the country so far under the nationwide vaccination drive. COVID-19 recovery rate has reached 97.36% with around 40,000 patients recovering in the last 24 hours. India reported more than 39,742 new cases in the last 24 hours. Country's active case load is currently at 4,08,212. Active cases constitute 1.30% of total cases. A total of 535 deaths were reported in the last 24 hours, taking the death toll to 4,20,551.
The Army, Navy and Air Force are working round the clock to rescue the locals affected by floods in Maharashtra, Karnataka and Goa. They are also providing food, water and medical relief to people in flood-affected areas. More rescue teams and aircraft are on standby for deployment. The three services join hands with civil administration and the national and state disaster management authorities for relief and rescue operations in these states. The Indian Army has deployed task forces comprising infantry, engineers, communication, recovery and medical teams in the affected areas of worst-hit Ratnagiri, Kolhapur and Sangli districts of Maharashtra. In Karnataka, 7 relief teams were mobilized by the Indian Navy. The teams evacuated 165 people from Singura and Pere villages near Kadra Dam, while 70 people were evacuated from low-lying areas of Kega. Naval Seeking Advanced Light Helicopters and the Indian Air Force Mi-17 helicopters conducted multiple sorties and rescued people marooned due to sudden and sharp rise in the water levels. Meanwhile, in Maharashtra, with little respite from rain since last 24 hours, the situation in various parts is gradually limping back to normalcy. According to the latest report, water has receded from Mahad city. Water Resources Minister Jayant Patil has expressed confidence that the water level of Sangli city will decrease in the next few hours. In Olympics, the medal hope for the country, PV Sindhu won her women's singles first round match against Israel's Ksenia Polikarpova 21-7, 21-10. Paddler Manika Batra registered a terrific comeback 4-3 win against Margarita Pesotska of Ukraine in the second round of women's singles table tennis event. Batra came back from 2 games down to win the second round clash 4-11, 4-11, 11-7, 12-10, 8-11, 11-5 and 11-7. Indian boxer and medal hope MC Maricom entered the round of 16 defeating Dominica Hernandez, Marguerite Garcia Migulina 4-1 in women's flyweight category. Maricom won by split decision. Indian rowers Arvind Singh and Arjun Lal Jat have qualified for the semi-finals of the lightweight men's double sculls event. The Indian pair finished third in repechage 2 and sealed their place for the semi-finals. In shooting, Divyansh Singh Pawar and Deepak Kumar crashed out of the 10-meter air rifle men qualification event in the Tokyo Olympic Games. In table tennis, Satyan Gyanasekaran of India lost to Hong Kong's Lam Sui Huang 4-3 in the men's singles event. Satyan was 3 up after 4 sets, but the lower-ranked Hong Kongese mounted a comeback to win the next 3 consecutive sets. In tennis, India's women's pair of Sania Mirza and Ankita Raina lost their first-round match against Ukraine's Kichenok twins Nadia and Lyudmila 6-0, 6-7. Praniti Naik, India's only gymnast in Tokyo Olympics, also failed to qualify in women's all-round qualification in the artistic gymnastic event.
The first T20 international of the 3-match series between India and Sri Lanka will be played at R. Premdasa Stadium in Colombo this evening. The match will start at 8 p.m. Indian time. India will go into the T20 series on the back of a 2-1 win in the ODI series. Now let us take a look at the weather update for today. The national capital Delhi is likely to experience generally cloudy sky with light rain or drizzle. The temperature will hover between 28 and 37 degrees Celsius. Mumbai will have generally cloudy sky with moderate rain. Chennai is expected to have partly cloudy sky. Kolkata will witness generally cloudy sky with 1 or 2 spells of rain or thunder showers. Srinagar will have a partly cloudy sky. Temperature will hover between 14 and 30 degrees Celsius. Jammu will have thunderstorm with rain. Leh is expected to have partly cloudy sky. The minimum and maximum temperature will be between 14 to 32 degrees Celsius. Gilgit will have mainly clear sky. The temperature will hover between 20 to 36 degrees Celsius. Muzaffarabad will experience mainly clear sky, becoming partly cloudy towards afternoon or evening. Guwahati, Imphal, Shillong and Aizawl have generally cloudy sky with a few spells of rain or thunder showers. In Guwahati, the minimum temperature will be around 27 degrees Celsius, while the maximum will be 35 degrees. Imphal will observe a minimum temperature of 21 degrees Celsius and a maximum of around 29 degrees. In Shillong, temperature will hover between 19 to 26 degrees Celsius. In Aizawl, this minimum temperature will be 19 degrees Celsius, with the maximum will be around 26 degrees. Kohima and Agartala are expected to have generally cloudy sky with 1 or 2 spells of rain or thunder showers.
And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi calls upon countrymen to make a sacred Amrit resolve on Amrit Mahotsav and move forward with the mantra, Nation First, Always First. In Mann Ki Baat program on All India Radio, Prime Minister says it is our duty to ensure that our work helps to closely knit and bind India. Mr. Modi asks countrymen to lead a Bharat Jodo Andolan on the lines of Bharat Chodo Andolan steered under Bapu's leadership. President Ramnath Kovind arrives in Srinagar on a 4-day visit to Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh today to pay homage at Kargil War Memorial at Dras on 22nd Kargil Vijay Divas tomorrow. Home Minister Amit Shah plants trees at Bashari in Meghalaya as part of the Sorai Forestation Project to inaugurate various schemes in Guwahati this evening. Nationwide COVID-19 vaccination crosses 43 crore 31 lakh doses mark. Recovery rate stands at 97.36%. Army, Navy and Air Force working round the clock in rescue and relief work in flood-affected Maharashtra, Karnataka and Goa. In Olympics, boxer MC Maricom wins in opening round of women's flyweight category. Shuttler PV Sindhu sails to second round in women's singles. Manika Batra enters third round of women's table tennis singles. And in Indian rowing team enters semi-finals of lightweight men's double sculls. And with that, we end the midday news.